Hi, I'm Kelly with Craft Room Creations. Welcome to my craft room. Today we are going to put together the Twist and Pop card from Crafter's Companion and their Precious Memories album. We are also going to use the frames and accessories for the front of our card that will go into the album. I have cut all of the pieces already using my Gemini machine, and you're going to have the mechanism pieces. You can put them in any color. I generally use black. I am working on a different album that I am using like a brown because it's for camping and I'm trying that out. But most of the time I use black. And so these are your two mechanism pieces that you will need. You will also need a card that measures 3.5 by 10 with the score line at 5. You're going to need 4 of these little card pieces that will go on your mechanism here. And then the other 2 go under these pieces. So you can kind of see how this goes, and I will attach them in just a second. Then you'll need 2 tags and 2 little pockets. You don't necessarily have to have this piece, but I do think it adds some color because otherwise just the top would be black, and I like it to have a little bit of color in there. So this is how you will design this piece, and I am going to go ahead and glue those down before I fold them into the pocket. Remember, you're going to put your score line across the top because you always want on your card, your score line needs to go on the top because you always want to go mountains to valleys. So I have my valley here and I am going to fold it like so. Use my bone folder to flatten that out. This part isn't going to show because it will be glued down, but then it's going to open and your mechanism piece is going to go inside here. So the mechanism piece, you're going to fold on the score line here, and then you'll flip it. So you're going to go up like this, open it back up, fold the other side down, use your bone folder. Now that you have these 2 pieces, you're going to flip your mechanism over and you're going to fold in the center. But you want to make sure that you have flipped it so that you are doing the opposite side. So you've got your front is folded here and here, and your back is folded down. And then you're just going to take, and you can see how this is bent, and you'll just take the ends of the back and fold in, and it makes this kind of triangle at the top. And I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder again. Now this part of the mechanism is ready to go. So I'm just going to set it out of my way, and I'm going to go ahead and attach all of my pieces to the paper, because once you attach it to the mechanism, it would be really hard to go back and put these in place. Okay, now I'm gonna let that dry for a little bit. I did use glue and tape because of the glitter. If you have glitter on one of the sides, then the tape doesn't hold very well, so I always use a little bit of the art glitter glue to make sure that it stays. Now this piece is just cut out from the same pattern as this. But when I put it on my card, it really didn't show up very well. So Tim Holtz has come up with this new distressed embossing glaze, and I absolutely love, this is speckled egg. I love this because, as you can see, unlike most embossing powders, you can still see the entire pattern behind the embossing powder, because normally it would have just changed it to whatever color the embossing powder was. You might be able to tell that there was a design behind, but it would be really faint. This actually brightens the colors up that are behind there, so you can really see that this is a designer piece of paper, and the blue glaze is just coming on top. It also gives it a little bit of a shine, which I absolutely love. So this is the only one of these glazes I have right now, but I plan to get a lot more. I absolutely love this. And normally I'm like, I have so many embossing powders, I really don't need any more, but that one is really cool. I'm glad I picked it up just to see what it would do. Now that I've given that a second to set, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fold this. So you're going to do this kind of zigzagged. So you're gonna fold down, and then these are gonna fold in. And this one's going to fold away. So when you're done, it looks like this. But all of your papers are inside, okay? Okay, now that you have this folded, you're just going to take this piece and you're gonna slide it in. Now, normally when I've made this, it easily goes back and forth, so I'm making sure that the part that it's on top, I'm putting on this side so that they don't scrape against each other. Normally you have some room, so I'm not sure why this time you don't, but it's still working, so it's fine. You're gonna leave a spot here because you wanna give it room to open and close within the card. So you want to give it a little bit of space, and that's going to be really important so that your mechanism opens and closes easily. So I'm going to go ahead. I am going to use glue on this because I don't want the tape to come off over time. So I'm going to use glue on both sides, making sure that I leave this space. Warm that glue up. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And normally it lines up perfectly, so I'm not really sure why it's not this time, but it's still working. My mechanism is still working. So I'm going to go ahead and push down, warm that glue up, and then, whoops, you can see that that mechanism is opening and closing. Now, something that you want to remember when you are putting this in your card is that when this mechanism opens and closes, you want to make sure that the tags are facing up so that they don't fall out over time. It's high, yeah. So you want to do it making sure that these are up, and when you glue this in and this pops open, they'll open up like that, but when it comes back down, these tags are going to be facing up because this is up. So you're just going to glue again, especially on this because it is glitter and it has a harder time focusing on that. Now you can go ahead and put your accent pieces on the front before you glue the mechanism down or after. I'm going to do it after just because I like to rub and that's going to be in the way, but I really don't think that it matters very much. I also leave just a little bit of space. I don't make it where this is touching. I'm going to give it a little space because I just did like a just a teeny bit, just not even really noticeable space, because I want that mechanism to open and close easily. And flip it over. You're going to do the same thing to the other side. If you live in a really humid place, Tennessee or any place in the South really, you'll be a lot more sparing with glue than maybe some of the drier climates, because it definitely affects our projects. Even in Texas where it's pretty dry, we have really humid days, and I'll find that my paper warps with the glue if I use too much. So I try to use the Crafter's Companion tape runner whenever possible. And there is your mechanism. It opens and closes really well because we've left that space. And I just love that. I think it is so pretty. So I think these are dry enough to go ahead and put my tags in. So I'm going to slide my tags into place. I keep trying to remind myself to kind of squeeze that before I glue to make it a little bit easier. But I can use just some powder, like your little things that you use for before you put on the embossing powder. Sometimes that'll help things to slide in and out a little bit easier. So I probably will use a little bit of that because I definitely made this very tight. But that's okay. I can fix that. So there you have it. And we'll go ahead and put these on. I'm going to use some dimensionals. These are dimensionals from Stampin' Up! And I like how tiny they are, and you can just cut them in half so that they will not show on this, which is going to be really helpful. And again, I use that new Tim Holtz Distress Glaze on it. I am probably going to be very obsessed with that because I loved the way that turned out, or the way this turned out. So I'm just going to cut these dimensionals in half. Even though these are teeny tiny, they're still a little too big for this. And I definitely want to pop this up a little bit. And for this album, these dimensionals are like the perfect size. They're a little bit thinner than most dimensionals, so they're not getting in the way of the book or making the book too thick, which I really like as well. Then you're gonna do the center. Now the next piece, I'm just going to glue down or tape down in the center. I'm not going to use dimensionals for this piece. And the center piece can really be anything that you wanted. I wanted to do a flower in the center. Excuse me. So I just found a really pretty flower. This paper is just gorgeous. And so that was simple to find. I'm going to use the bigger dimensionals. These are still from Stampin' Up, but they're the same size as the little one, so I want it to be consistent on how much it pops it up. And then just center that right in there. And then I'm just gonna glue this on to this page, and we are going to be ready. It's gonna be in the album, so this is what the finished product looks like. And I love this. I can't wait to add photos to this book. And I will do a video when it is completely done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this was helpful to you and that you'll be able to do the twist and pop easily with this how-to video. If you like the video, please hit like and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, happy crafting!